The Val-3 Council had conquered 17 star systems before they encountered their first human. Commander Zeftal flexed his crystalline carapace as he studied the tactical display aboard his flagship. The pale blue hologram showed the human colony world of Kepler 442b spinning lazily in space, a verdant marble streaked with white clouds and deep blue oceans. Intelligence reports indicated a population of barely 50,000 humans scattered across 3 settlements. A pathetic resistance for a species that claimed to be spacefaring. "Commence orbital bombardment of the primary settlement," Zeftal commanded, his voice resonating through the bridge like grinding stone. "These mammals will learn the futility of opposing the Val-3 Empire." The first plasma barrage lit up the colony's shields, which flickered and died within minutes. Standard procedure. The Val-3 had perfected this dance across dozens of worlds. Overwhelming firepower, swift capitulation, integration into the Empire as a vassal species. Some fought longer than others, but the outcome was always the same, except the humans didn't surrender. Instead of the expected transmission pleading for mercy, Zeftal's communications array received something else entirely. A single message broadcast on all frequencies from the burning colony below. "Tell your friends to bring more ships. You're going to need them." The voice was calm, almost conversational, belonging to someone calling himself Colonel Marcus Chen. Zeftal's mandibles clicked in amusement. Bravado in the face of annihilation was common among primitive species. It would make the inevitable submission all the sweeter. "Finish the bombardment," he ordered. But as Kepler 442b's sunset and darkness crept across the colony, something changed. The thermal sensors detected movement. Not the panicked flight of refugees, but coordinated, purposeful activity spreading through the ruins like a virus. "Sir," his sensor operator hissed, "I'm detecting multiple energy signatures. The humans appear to be regrouping." Zeftal studied the readings with growing unease. The scattered heat blooms were converging on predetermined points, forming a pattern he couldn't decipher. More troubling, his long-range scanners were picking up movement in the asteroid belt. Small craft, nearly invisible to conventional sensors, drifting between the rocks like ghosts. "Launch fighter squadrons," he commanded. "Eliminate those vessels." The Val-3 fighters screamed toward the asteroid field, their pilots confident in their superior technology and training. They found the human ships easily enough, ancient-looking craft that seemed cobbled together from scrap metal and obsolete components. The engagement should have lasted minutes. It lasted 6 hours. The human ships moved like nothing the Val-3 had ever encountered. They used the asteroids not as cover, but as weapons, using precisely timed detonations to create debris fields that turned space itself into a maze of death. They flew patterns that defied tactical sense, breaking formation only to regroup in configurations that seemed random until Val-3 fighters started disappearing into carefully laid traps. By dawn, half of Zeftal's fighter wing was floating debris, and the humans had vanished back into the asteroid field like smoke. "Impossible," Zeftal muttered, staring at the casualty reports. "They're using inferior technology. Their ships are centuries behind ours." "Sir," his tactical officer reported, voice tight with anxiety, "we're receiving another transmission from the surface." Colonel Chen's voice filled the bridge again, still maddeningly calm. "Night 1, Commander. How did we do?" "Because from where I'm sitting, you just lost 47 fighters to what you probably think are flying scrap heaps. Wait until you see what we've prepared for Night 2. Zeftal's carapace darkened with rage. "This is impossible. No species has ever resisted our fleets. We have conquered star systems with populations in the billions." "Yeah, we heard about that," Chen replied. "Nice job with the Kethmori, by the way. Really impressive how you glassed their homeworld when they tried to surrender too slowly. Here's the thing, though. We're not the Kethmori. We don't surrender, and we sure as hell don't forget." As the human colony world rotated into night again, Zeftal watched his sensors with growing dread. The energy signatures were moving again, but this time they weren't forming defensive positions. They were spreading outward toward his fleet. "Sir, I'm detecting small craft launching from the surface," his sensor operator reported. "Hundreds of them. They're barely registering on our instruments." Zeftal zoomed in on the display and felt his blood turn to ice. The humans had launched what appeared to be their entire civilian population in ships that looked like they'd been assembled in garage workshops. Pleasure craft, mining vessels, cargo haulers, anything that could fly had been weaponized and sent into the black. "They're committing suicide," he whispered. "They're sending their families to die." But as the makeshift human fleet approached his formation, Zeftal began to understand. Each civilian ship was loaded with enough explosives to crater a moon. Each pilot was broadcasting their name, their hometown, their reasons for being there. They spoke of children killed in the bombardment, of homes reduced to ash, of a way of life that would never surrender to bullies among the stars. The Veltri fleet opened fire, their precision weaponry designed to disable rather than destroy. These ships might contain valuable intelligence. But the humans had no intention of being captured. One by one, they detonated themselves against Vilethri shields, each explosion carefully calculated to overload specific frequency ranges. As his flagship's shields failed under the coordinated assault, Zeftal finally understood what he was facing. This wasn't a military resistance. This was something far more dangerous, an entire species that had turned warfare into an art form, that saw every civilian as a potential soldier and every defeat as a lesson for the next battle. "All ships retreat to safe distance," he commanded, his voice hollow with defeat. "Prepare for hyperspace jump." Colonel Chen's transmission reached them as they fled. "Commander, you came here thinking you'd conquered another world. But you just learned something important about humans. We don't just fight wars. We are war, and every ship you send, every world you attack, just teaches us new ways to make you regret it." As the Vilethri fleet jumped to hyperspace, abandoning their easy conquest, Zeftal stared at the tactical display showing the unconquered human world still spinning defiantly in space. For the first time in his military career, he understood fear. The humans had taught him something the Vilethri Empire had never learned. There were some species that couldn't be tamed, only survived. And as night fell across the galaxy, Zeftal knew that humanity's real war was just beginning.